Welcome to the Forgotten One, The Vanishing of Ethan Carter, the Breakout EDU edition. This is just going to be a quick kind of short video just to help any educator that wishes to try to run this particular program, just to give you a little bit easier of a time, and I can kind of show you how I go about doing it. So this, for the Forgotten One, if you look at on phase one here, and this comes within the guide, it says that I start off with this one giving the students or the group playing hint card one. So you would simply go ahead and give the group this one, and you'll notice that the first hint to get them going says the encyclopedia containing the state of Bayfield County holds the key. So obviously they are going to see that to get this thing going, they're going to need to get in this small breakout box that's locked by a key. It really doesn't matter if you use an encyclopedia, you can use a dictionary. What I usually do is I put it in a dictionary or an encyclopedia in our media center or library, but you can do it in your own classroom if you want. But really the kids are going to need to use right here, they'll have to figure out they need to use some type of smart device to look up Bayfield County. When they look up Bayfield County, they'll see that it's in the state of Wisconsin. Therefore, if they need help, you can help them, or they can infer they need to go to find a W encyclopedia, or if you chose, you can put it also in a dictionary on the W page where Wisconsin is in most dictionaries. So for our intents and purposes right now, you can pretend that this is an encyclopedia in the media center, or you can use a dictionary as I said, but if you open up to in the W section where Wisconsin is, the kids would find the envelope, and in the envelope there would be a key, and then they should know that there's only one key or one lock that requires a key in this experience, and it's right here. So they would unlock this lock, and I'm going to try to do it here with one hand since I'm doing this by myself. And this should, okay, I'm back now. Unlock this lock. When we unlock that lock, the kids can open this case up, and they will find a couple things in here. They're going to find a computer mouse, and they're going to find a flashlight of a sort. It's actually a UV flashlight. They're going to need the computer mouse. You can plug it into a desktop computer in your own classroom if you want, or you can have the kids plug it in if you trust them. Doesn't matter. This they'll have. It's not being used yet, but at least they'll have it, and they'll have to refer to that later. So this part has been taken care of, and you've gotten that first lock off. As the kids know, the ultimate goal is somehow they're going to have to be able to get into the large breakout box with all the locks on it, but at least they've gotten through the first step of getting that key to get the small box unlocked. Now that the students have figured out Wisconsin and they've plugged the mouse into the computer, or the teachers plugged the mouse into the computer, they can continue on. When they were successful with that, the teacher should then give them hint card 2. Hint card 2 will say, the 8th song on Hootie and the Blowfish Cracked Rear View album leads the way for the 4-digit lock. Remember, we got all these locks we need to get off here, because obviously the main goal is to get into the large box here. So that being said, on a smart device or computer or iPad or phone, whatever the case may be, the students are going to need to look up that particular album, and in essence they're going to need to look up the song list, which isn't hard to do in the days of Google. Simply the kids should put in, they should be able to figure out Hootie and the Blowfish Cracked Rear View songs, and if they look to the 8th song, you'll see the 8th song is titled Time. Therefore the kids should infer that it's going to have something to do with time that they're going to need. Now that they have done that and they've gotten that one, the teacher prior to the activity taking place, remember there's some setting up that needs to take place, the teacher somewhere in the room, preferably around a clock, should have taped something up. I happen to have mine taped up here by our clock on the TV up there. You'll see that's where ours is. It's up to the teachers where they want to put it. But when they see the word time here, the kids might have to think for a while, and that's just fine. That's kind of the point. They need to think. They might start looking around, and then when they look up towards our clock, they're going to see something up there that's not normally there. And they'll remove it, and it's a letter that says, "One dead in house fire. Fire damaged a historic home in Red Creek Valley Wednesday morning, according to the officials from Bayfield County Fire Department. Firefighters were dispatched to the scene at 4:22 a.m. So, and again, the hint said that the 8th song leads the way for the 4-digit lock. So after some thinking, they should be able to infer that the 4-digit lock's COM is 0422. So this lock will be able to be undone by putting in 0042, and there goes another lock off the large breakout box, and the kids will be able to move on from there. Once the teacher has, or once the students, I should say, have solved the 4-digit lock by unlocking it with 0422, the teacher can then give the students of the group playing hint card 3. Hint card 3 says, in the Ethan Carter playlist, find 122 for suspect answers. You'll notice if you purchase the guide that when we do different phases, I put the materials that are needed, and my Ethan Carter playlist is right down here, and it's already hyperlinked to go out to my YouTube channel. But basically, when it takes you there, you're going to end up at a playlist, and it says find 122 to narrow down your suspects, basically. So the students should be able to infer, and if they can't, then give them some help, but look through my playlist and find the time that reads 122. It's right there. So they will be able to click that and watch that particular video to narrow down their suspects, and they will find out through this one that Travis Carter is indeed not someone that's responsible for Ethan's disappearance. So the kids then could, off of their breakout mystery sheet, they can check him off because he no longer is a possibility for the disappearance of his brother Ethan. Once the students have narrowed him down and watched that clip, they are ready to move on to phase 2. Phase 2 starts off a little bit tricky. It says to receive their next hint card, students need to read this excerpt from a famous Edgar Allan Poe poem. And that excerpt is right here, and it's also included in the guide. And basically, it's a part of, obviously, The Raven. Okay, so once the students have gotten that and they've read it, you can give them hint card 4 once they've read over the excerpt of the poem. And on hint card 4, it's going to say to move on, decide on, or to move on, watch 517 to decide on the item which describes the poem. So again, there's that time thing again. So they should know by now they're looking for a video that on the playlist is 517. And when they find that one, it's going to bring them to this clip. And as the clip plays, a stone raven is found in the clip, and their answer should be then hopefully the raven, because they'll see within the poem excerpt that obviously the raven is pretty prominent. If they answer that correct, then they may watch the graveyard scene solution, which is also part of the guide, and it's hyperlinked in there. And when they watch that, the reason they're watching that is so they can narrow down once again their suspects. And when they watch the graveyard one, they'll be able to check off a couple more people that have nothing to do with the disappearance of Ethan. So once again, they'll go back to the playlist, and it's already hyperlinked for you in the guide, but you can also just have them pull that up, and they can go to the graveyard sequence there, and they will be able to narrow down the suspects, and they're going to find out here that now they can basically cross off the uncle, Chad, whoops, and they'll be able to also cross off Mom, Missy Carter. They'll be able to cross off, well, no, they'll be able to cross off the uncle for sure. Right now, he's the only one that you can really get rid of. So far, we've gotten rid of, for sure, Travis and Chad. And once they've been able to mark that down, then they are ready to move on further in the mystery. Now that the students have narrowed down their suspects from the graveyard crime scene, they're ready to move on, and they are able to get from the teacher hint card 5. Hint card 5 is a tough one, so it's up to the teacher how much they want to help their kids, but let them get a chance to figure it out. You might be surprised at how well they do with this. But hint card 5 says, the chemical sum of what you hear under the mine shaft opens the 3-digit lock. So we're back to this thing again, and we got to get another lock off. So the chemical sum of what you hear under the mine shaft opens the 3-digit lock. And then it says on your guide that they can watch this clip, so you can simply help them, or they have the mouse now, they can click and go to that video. But if they watch it, as it gets close to the mine shaft, and if they listen really carefully, I'm trying to move it forward for you. If you listen very carefully, you'll hear a current or water underneath there. Therefore, what is the chemical sum of water? Well, it's H2O. And what does our hint say again? Our hint says the chemical sum, so you get a sum when you add things together. So H2O, add them up. H is the 8th letter of the alphabet, 2 is already a number, O is the 15th letter of the alphabet. Add those numbers up, you get a total of 25. Therefore, the 3-lock combination for our breakout box here is 025, and when they've figured that one out, that lock is released, and we are down to one left, which is the letter lock. So if I can get it off here, but anyway, the students will get this lock off, and they have one to go to solve this breakout mystery. Remember, that one's tough, so I said it's up to the teacher how much help they want to give, because the water one can be a little bit tricky. It's meant to be, but like I said, sometimes they'll surprise you. When the students do remove that lock, tell them that you're giving them another clue that says the next clip to watch is listed where you go when thirsty. So it's up to the teacher to tape this page I have linked in the guide to a drinking fountain or another source of water within the school or their own room. My kids know that I drink water all the time, so I'll have a water bottle somewhere, and whether it's here or anywhere, this is supposed to be, here's my water bottle where I usually keep it, and it says the mines. It says to narrow down the suspects, go to the Ethan Carter playlist and choose the Vanishing of Ethan Carter Mines solution. So they're going to go back to the playlist that is within the guide. Remember the playlist right here. It'll be in your materials page. It's right there. They go to the playlist. It's already hyperlinked for you. And they're looking for a very specific title. And when they find that one, they'll be able to watch it and narrow down their suspects and even more. And when they've watched the mines video from that little clue sheet, they're going to be able to narrow it down that it's certainly not Mom either. Mom is not responsible for the disappearance of Ethan. Okay, so we've got Travis out of the way, Chad out of the way, and Missy out of the way. Now the kids are ready to move on to the final phase. All right, the students now are on phase 3 of our breakout experience, and what they are going to need right off the bat from the teacher is they're going to give them this page that comes as part of the guide that gives them 5 pictures. And what they're going to need to do on this piece of paper is the group is going to need to decide on a chronological sequence or order, and have someone with a pen or marker or whatever write on there what order they think is the correct sequence for this crime scene. Once they've done that, you may give them hint card 6. When the students get hint card 6, it says the answer can only be found in the light. And it might take them a minute, but they need to think back to phase 1, and they found a flashlight, if you remember right here. So someone should be able to infer, hey, maybe we need the light. So when they turn the light on, if they look closely, it's going to have the correct number written on here of when these took place. So even if they don't get it right, if they look with the flashlight, the numbers will be written on there and they'll see that it's right. But remember, in your guide as well, you have the answers right there anyway. Also, at the bottom right-hand corner of the one, even though it's hard to see in this light, it will say watch 035. Just like it says right there. That should lead them to infer that they need to go back to the playlist to find something that's 35 seconds long. When they watch that one, they're going to be able to narrow down their suspects once again, and after they watch that scene, they're going to be able to mark Dad off the list. So Dale is not a suspect in the disappearance of Ethan. Once the students have watched the dam crime scene and they were able to further check off their suspect possibility list, they are going to get from the teacher their final hint card 7. Hint card 7 will tell them basically blank, 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 blank comes for us all. It's up to the teacher how much help they want to give their students. I'm going to probably let my own students sit there and flounder for a while. They'll see how many letters are there based on my dashes on the hint card, if you'll notice. But at some point, they're going to come up with a word. And since the letter lock is the only lock that remains on the big breakout box, they can infer that that answer is going to unlock this lock. And since I have students in my room right now, I'm not going to say it, but you can see on the guide, see in green right there, that is the answer for the letter lock. When they open the large box, once we get the letter lock off, if I can get it off, I only got one hand here. And they open up the box, they're going to have a simple USB port in here, and this USB port is going to have, you'll notice in your guide, it's going to have that URL on it. You can copy and paste that URL onto a Word document, PowerPoint, Keynote, doesn't matter. But when the students plug the USB port in and open that file, they will infer to click that link, and that will give them the final answer as to what happened to Ethan Carter. And when they watch that clip, they will be able to say they broke out because they're going to learn that this right here is unfortunately the cause of young Ethan's disappearance. So hopefully your kids will enjoy the Forgotten One breakout as much as I'm sure my students will enjoy it. They've already done one that they've enjoyed. Follow the guide, do a practice run through, and your kids will have a great experience. Thanks again, and see ya.